Welcome to my series, which is called Unveiling the Secrets of Executive Presence. As a certified image professional and in my business Style for Life, I have the good fortune to work with some of Australia's most influential women who are committed to making a difference in the world and are not afraid to showcase their strength and courage in presenting a powerful visual brand. These women appreciate that an authentic image makes them even more credible, confident, and impressive than they appear on paper. But as an ambitious woman, the journey to the C-suite can be filled with insecurity, fear, judgment, and second-guessing all around whether your executive presence and gravitas is going to be enough. Executive presence is one of the most important skills for success in business, but it's also the least understood, which is why I decided to start this series. Unveiling the Secrets of Executive Presence provides insights into how to develop and use executive presence as a powerful tool for career advancement through interviews with the most accomplished senior executive women in Australia. These women are highly respected leaders in their fields who concur that executive presence is a skill that should be learned and mastered to make a very real difference. And they share how to use it to achieve success both personally and professionally and what executive presence has meant for them. So today I have the pleasure of speaking to Fran Reddan, who is very highly accomplished. She's got a long list of letters behind her name. But she is the principal consultant and coach of Fran Reddan Consulting. She advises in strategy, innovation, and reputation in the education sector and specialises in leadership and executive coaching in a variety of purpose-driven organisations. Her career has encompassed diverse roles, from leading a K-12 independent school to serving in membership organisations where results, business acumen and stakeholder relations matter. She's been a non-executive director on the boards of charitable trusts, residential colleges, education and government regulation. In addition to her coaching and consulting roles, she is currently a board member of a government regulator which contributes to quality learning and work environments in schools, homeschooling, registered training organisations, and in the apprenticeship and traineeship systems. Fran is passionate about making the world a better place by encouraging purpose-driven leaders to get the best out of themselves and others. So welcome, Fran, to my little interview series.
Thanks, Julie. Very excited to be here.
So first question, can you tell us about a time when you first realised the importance of executive presence in your career?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think when I reflect back on my long career now, I think there was a real understanding of going from an individual contributor to leading and managing other people and being focused on other people and being able to inspire and influence other people. So it became a matter, I think, of building trust with them to be able to work with and through them. And that became my leadership and still is my leadership mantra of working with and through other people. So how they viewed you in a whole range of ways all of a sudden became something that I had to think about as a leader.
So what strategies did you use to try and amplify your own executive presence in that scenario?
Well, I think it took me a while to understand what it was, what this presence was. And I had various mentors and coaches, and study to help me slowly come to grips with what it was. And I think I can thank my mum for asking me to, stand up straight and smile. That was good advice as part of executive presence. I think that gets you a long way in building or in surfacing warmth that builds trust with other people and also strength. So how do people see strength in terms of your credibility and your confidence And then ultimately your willingness to step up when things get really hard, you know, be able to see strategically a little bit more. So how do you get people to see both sides of that in you? And for a while there, I thought it was an outside-in proposition. The letters that you have after your name, the things that you belong to, and what you wear, and what you do with your hair, and what glasses you wear, all those outside-in factors. But then as I had, you know, so I had leadership positions where the stakes were much higher, and as I grew in understanding and in leadership skills, I found that it was much more a matter of inside out proposition. So all those things that look on the surface as they're outside in are not. They're helping you understand better who you are, what you think about leadership, how you convey respect for other people, and then how you gain that confidence and that poise and that gravitas to lead. Yeah.
Which is
so, you know, how do all those factors play into that in your own self-awareness? And sometimes you need people outside of yourself to show you that. You know, and that's what I'm passionate about now. That's what I feel that the coaching does, helps people, someone outside of you, mirror that back to you and help you see your blind spots, help you look at things from a different perspective. And there are different types of coaches for different things, and different mentors for different things. And that's where I feel the image consulting can play a role. Right, because you don't always see, just from a very visual perspective, how you come across at times, or what the opportunities are. Yeah? So I found that a fascinating area when I came to that, and when that started to become when that took a little bit more prominence in my career, and what that meant, and how you could be authentic with that.
Well, it is a strategy, and I always say it's one of the tools you have in your toolbox that you can totally control. And if you get the right advice and help, it can transform you from someone being, you know, very good at what you do and having fabulous credentials to being someone who is exceptional. And you touched on the word confidence a couple of times in there, and it's one of the things that I know women do struggle with, particularly in male-dominated areas as well, is that feeling of not being quite enough and not having that strength that gives them the confidence. And I guess one of the things, just sidetracking a bit with what we do, is try and give women that feeling of confidence that they don't have to second guess how they look, because we've got that sorted. And that's all, you know, that's all organised. So if they know that that's okay, then they can just focus on the content and what it is they have to do and what they have to deliver. But there's a lot of misconceptions too about this word executive presence. And you've mentioned a couple of things as to how you overcame them, but is there anything else that you can expand upon in that particular light?
Well, I think, you know, whether you have executive presence or not is something that other people actually judge.
Yes.
Right.
So.
So they judge that. So I think the matter becomes, how can you give other people confidence that you have that presence that's sufficient to achieve goals? So, you know, if you're looking at contributing more in your company where you work, or whatever your role is, if you want to grow in your leadership, you have to ask the question, well, why would people choose me for that project or that role? and what's going to influence that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, one of the things I even thought of as a CEO when I was working is, I know this person is really technically competent, but could I put them in front of other people?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a question, you know. And I had other peers say, oh, I've got this really great person, but I can't put them in front of other people because they're, you know, they can't project warmth, or you know, they're not presented. They're not presented in a way that is part of the context of our particular organisation or company, because I need those leaders to be able to project warmth and strength and to build trust with clients or stakeholders. And if they look dishevelled, or if they look sick, or, you know, or something's just in the first 3 seconds of meeting someone, it just doesn't work for that context. And, you know, you have to give that a little bit of thought. It's not the only factor, but it's a contributing factor, as you say, one of the tools there. So I like what you said about it's, you know, once you've got that bit sorted, you can focus on why you're really there. And, you know, I think that actually saves leaders a lot of time. You know, because part of your role as a leader is you're making decisions. You're making decisions all the time. And if what you wear and how you present yourself, if that's one less decision, that's more decision bandwidth you have for the rest of your important work. And it's also, you know, I really love the fact that it can be joyful and playful, you know, and an expression of who you are, married well into the context in which you're called to serve or work. You know, that context is really important as well, because different organisations have different expectations of that. Yeah, so you know, you have to fit in is not quite the right word now, I think, because people are looking for you know, a measure of authenticity in who people are, but it's the capacity to build trust in that first, you know, 3 seconds of when people meet you, and reassurance that they can trust you, and then you know, you can achieve things and partner together better, I feel, than if people are distracted by, you know, something that inadvertently you have done that could be avoided.
I agree. It's you know, it's one, I would say it's one thing to read through you know, someone's credentials and you say, oh my goodness, they're so highly credentialed and they must be amazing. But if then when you meet them for the first time, there's a total disconnect in terms of what your expectations were on how that person should look, then it just takes so much longer for you to actually, you know, get to know them and for them to be able to build that trust with you. And I think you're right in what you talk about context, because they're, you know, different industries, different organizations have different values and different expectations on, you know, people that they attract into those organizations. So I think there has to be an element of respect there too from individuals who are seeking out those really senior positions to, well, what are the values of the organization, and you know, where is that organization at, and what are the expectations of, you know, the people that I'm going to be managing or leading, and also of, as you said, other stakeholders, whether they be, you know, customers, clients. You know, it's a really big deal. So it's not just, I just feel it's not just about what's on paper. There's a wholehearted approach to this whole thing, and there's never a right or wrong answer in terms of, well, what does executive presence look like? I think there's obviously going to be quite a varied, you know, scale within that.
Yeah. It's, you know, ultimately, I think someone being able to step up when things get difficult and remain calm under pressure, and removing barriers and any friction around that. And that's where the external factors influence the internal factors for someone to be better able to do that, and to be seen to be better able to do that. Because we live in a world where judgment's made.
Absolutely. All the time. You've only got to walk down the street and
and that's how human beings survive. They have to judge it. Is this safe? Is this not safe? What are this person's intentions towards me? What aren't they? So to be able to give people confidence and trust that you're a real human being and you have the warmth, that you have the strength and the capability and the credibility to be able to step up and do what needs to be done, I think it is a part of that executive presence. And things like your posture, the way that you communicate in words and in body language, all these aspects, these soft skills of leadership come into play. And we're a very visual society. People look at you and in split seconds try and put all this together. So it's a work in progress. I think you can never say that you've got executive presence and that's it. I think it's your context that plays an important part of it. It's your continual learning. It's your ability to be on point during the day. And I think if you have support from key people that you trust, that can help you stay in that pathway of keeping your executive presence in focus.
Yeah. I think that's a valid point too, is to make sure you have a support network around you that can help you with all of those different elements, which you can't be perfect at everything. You're good at what you do, but you can't be perfect at anything.
And things change too, right? Things change.
Absolutely.
So it's not like I've done this and I'm done. It's a constant journey, constant progress, constant reassessment. That comes into sharper relief at different times.
Yeah, absolutely. So that leads me into the next question, actually, which is on the pandemic. So the pandemic had a profound impact on women in the workplace, as we all know. So in your experience, going from your education role into consulting now, what's the biggest shift you find you've seen with women and how they present themselves now versus pre-COVID?
Well, I think there's a big shift for everyone, but if I focus on women, I think it depends what industry. But if I generalise a little bit, I think there was more of a relaxed approach to and a greater willingness to be more overt in talking about needs and anxieties and expectations around work. And I think there was a moment there where people were trying to come to grips with a new way of working, with the hybrid working, how much work, how little work, how you balance that with your other aspects of your life. So there was a lot of uncertainty there. And then I think as we emerged from that and then reflected back on that, I think we've come out to wearing the tracky dacks under the desk.
Under the desk.
To to reclaiming those aspects of executive presence that we knew to be important pre-COVID. But I think they're also balanced by new and differing expectations of what people actually want to do with their lives and with work and with the other things that they want to do as well. So I think there's some of that. I think people are now appreciating the power and the impact of in-person work, and the many benefits of in-person work, and taking the best of the hybrid they've learnt to make like a new way of moving forward. So now that we've done hybrid, that's a new way of working. We're never going to go back to never having done that. You know what I mean? And so how we present ourselves in that, how we make the best of that, to lead well with that, I think there have been a lot of lessons there.
Yes. So, I mean, I know personally myself, with the work that I do, I've seen a lot of women are now wanting to move towards a more relaxed, still look professional, but in a more relaxed way. So that's certainly what I'm seeing, and how that evolves over the next few years will be very interesting to see whether it sort of reverts back to that very, very polished, very, very professional, sort of structured look, or whether it does continue to go down this relaxed path. I think, when you think about all of the movement that's happening with diversity and inclusion and, gender equity, that it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few years.
Well, I think it's expanded the range of interest in professional dress. What professional dress means, because I remember thinking, I don't have a casual wardrobe, I just have a work wardrobe. That's what I do. That's what I need. And through COVID, now I've got much more versatile wardrobe that can be corporate casual but dialed up or dialed down. So there's much more, there are many more options, I think. And, if you are sitting in front of Zoom calls or Teams calls for a long time, you do need to be comfortable. So sometimes that highly polished, structured look doesn't serve you to do what you need to do in that sort of context. So I think context is key.
Yes, I think that's the one thing that's coming out of my chat with you today is confidence and context. Really, really important. So where do you see yourself from 5 years now, Fran, with the work that you're doing?
I'm doing passion projects now, I think, because I find it really good fun to be able to partner with other people now through the work that I'm doing, board directorships, coaching, to still contribute to leadership in the world and to grow the next generation of leaders, to help them do what they do really, really well. I find that really exciting. Will I still be doing that in 5 years? I may be playing more golf. So, I think where you feel you can add value, you add value. I've been hearing lately that they're keen for more people to be in the workforce for more hours, and they're inviting retirees to come back into the workforce. So I think there's opportunity there to work. I think people know in themselves whether they want to continue what they're doing, try other things. To me, it's, can I add value? And that's my marker for continuation. Yeah, that's the best answer I can give you.
No, I think that's excellent. And, obviously you have, you've got so much personal strength, in your character and how you hold yourself and present yourself and conduct yourself. And I know that this would be an enormous advantage for anyone who actually wanted to work with you moving forwards. And I know that you would be encouraging them as much as possible to actually project all of those qualities, which, as you said, helps build trust, convey warmth, passion, adhering to values, authenticity, all of those things that, mean so much to you. So is there anything else you'd like to add to the chat we've had this morning?
The people that I work with, that I partner with, are really, really capable people. And I think it's wonderful when really capable people who can solve their own problems can be open-minded enough to consider a whole lot of different factors that can help them be their best self, or whatever they're called to do. And that's why, things like the work that you do, and that I guess I try to do, can be part of that picture. And so I would encourage them to keep going. That's the part of the battle, is just showing up, keep going, and be open-minded to other people who can help you, because asking for help is a really smart thing to do.
Yes, and it's the one thing that women are very, it's very hard for them to do, that is to accept that they haven't, perhaps an inadequacy, although I don't really mean to say inadequacy, but they're lacking in one particular area, and then go and ask for help.
Yeah.
Because we're meant to be perfect at everything, right?
Well, I think if you can stand up straight and smile, that's a really good starting point. So keep doing that.
Wonderful. So, Fran, if anyone listening to this would like to reach out to you, how can they get in touch with you?
They can send me an email at franreddan@outlook.com, or they can find me on LinkedIn.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time this morning. I know you're incredibly busy and have a lot on your plate. So hope everyone's enjoyed this little chat we've had this morning. And until next time.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you very much, Fran.